What's up guys, we're back with another budget deck tech, and today we're looking at the Vivien of the Arkbow Planeswalker deck. In this series, I take a look at a Planeswalker deck, and I see what kind of improvements I can make to it by spending just 10 Canadian dollars. Any cards that I do add have to come from the current set, and at the end of the day I have to have a standard legal deck. So this starts out as a mono green deck, and being green, there's going to be a fair amount of large creatures in this deck. The main thing that I'm going to change in this deck is the number of big creatures. So I'm going to try to add as many big creatures with trample into this deck as humanly possible. Let's go ahead and start with 25 Forrests. So we want to keep this number fairly high just so that we can get those big creatures out sooner rather than later. We're going to leave Vivien in the deck. She has a couple of great abilities. Not only can she pump up your creatures, but she can get one of your creatures to deal direct damage to one of your opponent's creatures. We'll be adding a full playset of Druid of the Cowl to the deck. So the original deck came with 2 copies, we're adding 2 more at 15 cents each. So not only is this a great early game blocker, but you can tap it for mana so that you can bring out your big guns a little bit earlier. We're leaving in both copies of Colossal Dreadmaw, so this is a pretty standard 6/6 creature with trample for 6 mana. Next up is Pelakka Wurm. So the original deck came with 1, we're buying 3 more at 75 cents each. This guy's a 7/7 creature with trample for 7 mana, and he's got a few other abilities. So when he enters the battlefield, you gain 7 life, and when he dies, you draw a card. And then a full playset of Ghastbark Twins. So the deck came with 1, we're buying 3 more at 50 cents each. So this is another 7/7 creature with trample for 7 mana. Up next is Aggressive Mammoth, and this is without a doubt the best card in this deck. And unfortunately it's exclusive to the original deck, so we can't buy more of this one. So it's an 8/8 creature with trample, and it gives all of your other creatures trample as well. The nice part about this is it only costs 6 mana. One of the first ever Magic decks that I built was a green deck with a Force of Will in it. So that was also an 8/8 creature with trample, but it cost 8 mana to cast. And additionally there was an upkeep cost to that card. So this Aggressive Mammoth is a huge improvement over that card, and it's really great to have in this deck. We're going to add 1 copy of Goreclaw. So this is a 4/3 legendary creature, and we're only adding him for his ability. When he's in play, any creature spells you cast with power 4 or greater will cost 2 less to cast. So obviously this is a really easy way for us to get our big creatures out even sooner. He has a second ability that activates whenever he attacks, but we want to keep this guy alive as long as possible, so I probably would never attack with him. So we're adding the 1 copy of him to the deck for $2. We're leaving in both copies of Meteor Golem from the original deck. We don't need him so much as a creature, but he has a really great ability where you get to destroy a permanent when he comes into play. The last creature that we're adding is Daggerback Basilisk. So this card goes for 15 cents each, and we're adding 4 of them to the deck. It's a 2/2 creature with Death Touch, and it pairs really well with this next card. Declare Dominance is a sorcery that gives a creature +3/+3 and makes it so that all of your opponent's creatures have to block it, so not a bad card to play on a creature with Death Touch. The original deck came with 1, and we're adding 3 more at 25 cents each. We've got 2 copies of Colossal Majesty, so 1 from the original deck, and then 1 more that we bought for 50 cents. This is an enchantment, and when it's in play, if you control a creature with power 4 or greater, which we hopefully will, then during your upkeep you get to draw a card. Next up are 4 copies of Blanchwood Armor for 25 cents each. This card works really well in a mono green deck because it gives a creature +1/+1 for every forest you control. You're probably going to want to slap this on one of your big creatures with trample just to make him even bigger, even scarier. Last up are 2 copies of Naturalize for 15 cents each. So this is just a quick instant to get rid of any artifact or enchantment you don't want out there. And there we have it. That is our mono green Vivien deck. So we went a little bit creature heavy here, especially with the big creatures, but once they're out there, you got a really good shot at winning the game. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and we will see you next time.